if you were pissed off at another crew or another crew member, you still can't be an asshole, because if you're a real dick and the foreman catches on to that, he will kick all of you off the site and give the bid to another company.
Yeah.
Can't have that. So like, hey, fuck you, sir. And it was just kind of the unspoken rule. Like, you could get away with that. Just that, but that.
Yeah. I did want to point out, I don't know if anybody caught my joke about there being shit in the midden heap earlier, and now we found the Keltons. That's...
I had thought you were just talking about the stinky trash pile. No, you're absolutely right. These are Keltons.
Yeah. That's why I said it was going to be funny later. 'Cause... Yep.
I thought I was being smart just there, and you were being way smarter than me. So, props.
Thanks.
Look at the big brain on Jade. Actually, that may not be a good thing to say to you, because that person dies shortly thereafter. Anyways, Toby is thoroughly enjoying... That was a Pulp Fiction reference.
Yes, yes.
So, okay. Toby is enjoying the shit out of watching these people go around in a circle. Now, we don't know how big the circle is, okay? It's a city dump. I'm assuming fairly big, but I don't think it's miles.
Yeah, they don't have to walk around the whole thing.
But it's not like they're walking around a tree either.
Right. I think it's probably less than 15 minutes circumference walking speed, whatever.
Okay.
But probably more than 5.
Can we say about the size of, like, a high school track? Something like that?
Yeah.
Just, big, but not humongous. Not the size of a building.
Yeah, like, they're just going around a big, like, snow... Okay, you know the size of the pile that Myers gets in the parking lot in the wintertime?
Oh, yeah. I mean, pretty big.
Yeah, they're probably just walking around that.
Like, comparable to, in a parking lot... The space between the lights on the posts, probably 3 or 4 of those across. So yeah, it would take you like 10 minutes it's snowing and it's bad weather, so they're not racing.
Yeah.
So yeah, probably about 10 minutes to get all the way around it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And the 10 minutes is probably just making it better for Toby.
Yeah, well, it builds anticipation, and then they come around the corner again, and he's like, oh my God, they're here.
You thought that you were home. You're not home.
But they're also, like, frozen in this spell, so they're not necessarily dressed for the weather.
No.
And he has them go around a couple of more times, and I don't know how many of you live in climates that get really cold. We're in Michigan, so pretty fucking cold here. But you can't be outside... without
I didn't even think about that.
Winter stuff. Yeah, so this extra 20 minutes of being outside is actually a really big fucking deal.
She's wearing like a wrap and a dress.
When it hits, what is it? I don't think it's 0. I think it's above 0. I think it's like 10 degrees. Frostbite happens in just a few minutes on bare skin.
Yeah, I didn't think that.
Something like that. I might be wrong in that. Maybe, yeah, double check. But him doing this is like... really fucking with them.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so if considering that, even without the like weirdness that was happening, if someone made me stay outside for this much, like if I was outside for longer than I had planned on being in the snow, and this much longer than I planned on being in the snow, I would be upset.
You would be upset.
I would be
the 3-minute mark. You would be telling somebody.
I would be probably past just like ranting and whining. I would probably be like rage crying at this point. Like, I'm cold and I just want to go inside and this is fucked.
You gotta go inside and have yourself a nice... Well, you probably wouldn't want it to be ice cold, but it's better that way. But a beer.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would probably
Drink
calm
a
me
beer
down.
by the fire.
By
How's
the
that?
fire. Yeah, in all my blankets.
And the fuzzy socks and pants and your house coat.
And my cat.
Which is a robe. But it's a house coat.
We don't call it that because it doesn't sound
because
fancy.
It's a house coat.
Okay.
If you get a house coat, I get a smoking jacket. How's that?
That's fine as long as we don't call it my robe.
I'm good with it. Well, I think it is time for the beer break.
Yay!
So the beer we have tonight is called Raspberry Blonde. Real quick note. this will be the last raspberry beer. No, that's actually not true. We have this one and then one more with raspberry in it, but that's a very special one, so I'm not 100% sure when we get into it. Anyways, I'm going to try and pick some other flavors in the future. However,
I expect everyone to call him out when he doesn't stick to that.
Yeah. In a week after I've forgotten, like, oh, hey, raspberry, we haven't tried this. But so the beer we're having tonight is called Raspberry Blonde. It's a beer from Perrin Brewing Company, and it is a beer near and dear to my heart. Dear.
Oh.
Here.
Oh.
Sorry. Raspberry Blonde is a sessionable light beer with super intense raspberry smell and flavor. It's just I couldn't get over the smell. It was so good. But it's also it finishes dry and crisp, almost like a cider with a little bit of the tart in it that we've been talking about. But honestly, it's more like a wine than anything else. If you had poured this out of a wine bottle, I would have 100% believed that's what it was.
Yeah, just the flavor notes that it hits. And the way that it's not yeasty. It's not very yeasty.
Yeah, not yeasty at all.
Or bitter.
Oh, definitely not bitter. And on top of all of that other stuff, one more thing you guys have heard me say pretty repeatedly. It's a nitro beer.
Yeah,
so
you like those?
Smooth. Oh. It's like we're kind of remodeling our living room right now. We started it during quarantine because we were bored, and we just got all the sanding done on the drywall, and it's all just perfectly flat and smooth. If you're OCD like me, this is the greatest thing in the world to you.
Very satisfying.
But you can get that. Yes, it is very satisfying, but you get that in a beer, and it's just the best thing ever. Oh. So I know Perrin is sold nationwide. Mm-hmm. So if you get a chance and you see Raspberry Blonde, seriously, jump on it. You will love it. Will love it.
That's a Nate guarantee. If you don't, you can come to him about it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll disagree with you. So I'm going to finish this and maybe just 5 or 6 more, and we will be back right after this.
Hey guys, Jade here from All the Things, and I want to talk to you a little bit about 4 Acre Freedom. 4 Acre Freedom is a family-owned and operated one-stop shop for everything you're probably already looking for. They've got great shirts and hoodies. Don't forget your beer koozies. Those are essential. I mean, we know all about that. We actually have some with the All the Things logo on it, and they look pretty sweet. Just saying. They've got custom-made rings and jewelry too, which Nate and I also have, and they're awesome. We posted those on Facebook if you want to get a better look at what those might turn out like. They do custom woodwork and signs, like if you want a grace or a quote. They have a thingy that'll just etch it all out on wood so you get exactly what you want every single time. They can do leather work. You want a custom sheath for your knife? Do you need a new belt? They can do that too. I mean, you can put those 2 things together and probably make a pretty sick baldric, just saying. And also, they have farm-to-table bread, candies, and confections, which are delicious. We have tasted them all. Look, guys, here's the thing. Everything they do is of the best quality, and it's all literally handmade. The value is there, the quality is there, everything they do is awesome, and you should check them out for yourself. They're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and of course, you can check them out at 4acrefreedom.com. High quality, handmade. And we're back! So, the last time the Duke and the Duchess stop, when they get to Toby and Gail and Lunetta, Toby is basically staring at Lumholt's tits at eye level for him, like, straight out the gate.
Because he's a short guy.
Yeah.
He can't help it. Well, if they're big, he's got to look around him to look her right in the eye. It's very awkward. I honestly feel bad for him.
Yeah, it's totally not his fault at all. It's not a problem for everyone else. But, okay, so they're eye level, and she starts to insult him, and his response is to rip her dress off from the top down.
Ah.
Yeah, very rational. Like, this is how normal people respond to insults. She's exposed at this point, okay? And Lunetta uses her magic to freeze her husband, because at this point, he's getting a little upset at his wife with her boobs out to the world.
As you would.
Yeah. And
I wonder if he had anything to say just now.
Oh, like he would have, he did before?
Yeah. He's like, take your eyes off of my wife, sir.
Yeah, I would love to see how politely rude he is to these people.
I feel like if he's truly noble, he would be so flustered that he wouldn't even have words.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he's just shocked.
Me personally, we're to swords already. Like, you're way past anything that's acceptable. Now you will be killed.
How dare you even be at eye level with my wife's tits?
You there. Grow 6 inches this instant.
Or shrink. I don't care.
Let me take him off at the knees.
So Gail grabs the Duchess's arms, and her nips are just pointed straight out for the world.
Oh, it's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. They're like, When we listened to this, and you were like, "Hey, it's horny Terry popping out," it made me laugh.
He totally is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, every once in a while, and in this one, he focused on the tit, which is important.
Yeah,
it comes up again here in a couple of paragraphs, but just the way he was like, it was cold. And her boob was erect. That's a weird thing to say. And it's very clear. And then he drops a couple of whores, and it's all there.
Yeah, there's a lot of extra explaining that's done in this chapter about stuff that doesn't necessarily need to be expanded upon as much as it is, but it's just because Terry's like, the tit.
He got in the mood when he was writing this.
Toby drew his sword since he gave up his knife, and Lumholtz at this point loses her spine. Up till now, she's been kind of mouthy, trying to stand up to him, but knowing who he is and seeing what he's doing, she is terrified. She offers her husband up as a baneling in her fucking place because she's like, I am not one. I am not. Even though he didn't ask. He didn't ask at all, and she's like, nope, it's him. And then after a little bit of prodding, she is begging and promising to do his bidding.
Well, everybody's a tough guy until the steel comes out.
Yeah. But Toby will never take the word of a whore, so he's not about to, make a promise with her and have a deal and a whole situation.
Yeah, he goes through this whole thing about how he won't accept a self-servicing, what's the word I'm looking for, like a confession?
Yeah.
You're just saying that he's a baneling so I don't hurt you right now. That's just serving you, so obviously your confession is bullshit. But hold on a second, isn't literally every single confession he's gotten so far been self-serving for him? Because he just tortures people until they say what he wants them to hear?
And, I mean, most of them are even in worse situations than this. Like, you're already hurt at that point when most people are making those confessions.
Yeah, oh yeah, shit, yeah. And, again, by the sword, so...
Well, at this point, we're going to see some of that. Up close and personal.
Earlier, when we were talking about the trigger warning thing, this is probably about where that's coming up.
Yeah, this is that. At this point, Toby grabs her nipple, just grabs it and pulls it out straight, stretches it, and he saws it off with his sword. Saws it off with his sword.
I like how we're like, hey, trigger warning, and then we just back the car up and keep running him down over
terrible.
And over.
Okay.
It is the worst thing ever. I paused it while we were listening to this just earlier today, and I was like, wait, he didn't slice it.
No.
She's like, no, he saws it off. He has a sword. Could just slice. Gotta be a sharp sword. Yeah, and not just a for show sword either, but no, he saws.
Literally, he could have had Gail, grab the nip and, no! And, they could have...
This whole thing could have been a half a second long. Just rip the Band-Aid off, dude.
No. He doesn't. He ends up giving the nip to Lunetta, who closes her hand around it and starts doing an incantation. Incantation. I could say words. This is why it doesn't stink. This is what Al was saying on the Facebook. There's, magic going on around it. So that's why it's preserved.
So it's a mummy nipple?
Yeah, it's not a rotten nipple, it's a mummy nipple. His whole case is full of mummy nipples in there. Magic
they're still warm.
Not magic nummy nipples. Magic mummy nipples. Yeah. Magic mummy